program this year, we figured we would give you a little overview, tell you a little bit about what is going to be coming up, how it's all going to work. We have a mixture of students who are going to be taking 10th AP seminar in conjunction with 10th grade lit, and students who have already taken 10th grade lit and who are taking it as an elective as part of the AP Capstone program.
So raise your hand if you're taking this with 10th grade lit. Okay, so you're going to be Ms. Butler's students. Raise your hand if you're not, if you're taking just as an elective. All right, you're fine.
Alright, so we're going to go quickly over a little bit about, y'all know, because I'm sure you've watched the video a million times about what Capstone is, so we're going to brush on that quickly, then we're going to get more into the information that you're going to need to know for this course. So, the Capstone Overview. I've said I feel that this is probably one of the most useful classes that you will take in college, in high school in preparation for college. So that's one thing I think that is great about it.
Because in many ways it is kind of like a college class, like a college competition class.
Whereas the other AP classes aren't as much. They're more geared towards working towards a test, and this is really geared towards the college level type of skills that you're going to be doing. So it's part of the AP Capstone program, which AP Seminar is the first component of that program. The second component is AP Research. The way and Mr. McDermott, you can help me with this. The way they're working on AP Research is in research, you will be able to really research pretty much something of your area of interest. And we are going to have research teachers in the sciences,
Foreign language, English, history.
Yeah.
So you're going to get to kind of specialize in some particular area that you'd like to focus on, whereas for a seminar, we kind of guide the process a little bit more. So so research is really, even though one is called research and the other one called seminar, they're both very, very much focused on research skills and writing skills. The difference is there's more guidance that we give you in the first part, whereas in the second course, the research one, it's basically you just going through that process with sort of a teacher as a mentor or guide. I think is kind of the best way to.
Yeah, and we're basically, our job is to give you the skills to do research, the skills to really look at academic type texts.
Yeah.
And do research. It falls into a sort of, once you've got it, to get the full capstone diploma, you would do AP Seminar, AP Research, and 4 other AP exams of any variety at some point in your career with a score of at least 3. So that way, that would give you the capstone diploma. You don't have to do that. You can just do AP Seminar and AP Research, and that's its own designation as well. Colleges really like all of these. And any of you have friends who struggled with getting into Georgia lately, having a way to distinguish yourself can help, right? To help you find what you want to do. Not that everybody necessarily wants to go to Georgia, but that's just an example I know that has come up.
And regardless of what it does in terms of helping you get into college, one of the most common, if not the most common complaint that college professors voice about student preparedness is students not having the writing skills necessary to succeed in their courses when they get into college. The idea is that if you go through this, especially if you go through both courses, you will be ready not just to do research at an undergraduate level, but really you're going to be doing stuff that's even more akin to doing research at the graduate level. So when you get into those courses as a college student, your teacher says, I need you to give me a 10, 15 page research paper on this, go, you're going to know exactly how to do it and to do it well. You will have all the tools necessary to be able to do that. So.
And voice of experience, my students have heard me say this. My daughter went off to college, and first semester they said, you're going to be writing 4 research papers. And she had done all the AP Englishes that Johns Creek had to offer, but she had no idea how to do a research paper. So this kind of fills in that gap, which I think is very important. So, seminar is, it teaches you critical thinking skills, the type of critical thinking that you will need for any type of college, any type of career pursuit. Academic research skills, as well as academic reading skills. So being able to read that high-level text and comprehend it without your brain going, right? How to break it down, how to understand those high-level texts as well, and to bring your thinking together in writing formats. You can do it through many different interdisciplinary formats. You got anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean, I think, I don't know if we had a slide on it, but you know, one of the questions that comes up, this made me think about, but one of the questions that often comes up is, well, how is this different from the English classes that I've taken in the past? How is it different from, say, the other options that I had available? And one of the big differences is that although, well, and let me say this, if you're taking this with, as 10th grade English as well, Ms. Butler will be also hitting the literature standards, the standards related to literary analysis and so on. But the focus is a lot less on literature, and you're probably reading less literature than you otherwise would. The focus of seminar is very much on reading, analyzing, synthesizing, nonfiction. So we do a lot more work with newspapers, news magazines, things like that, but also academic journal articles. So when Ms. Butler was talking about how to break down those really challenging texts, we're going to show you how to read, to interpret, and then to use in your own arguments texts that might otherwise have seemed inaccessible, right? So those types of texts that are very specialized, very academic, those are the types of things that you're going to be using in your arguments in this course.
One of the things that makes seminar really different is, unlike all of your friends who have told you, like, oh yeah, we just prep for the AP test. Seminar is different. There's actually multiple components of it, which is kind of nice. It takes the pressure off of that final test. There is Performance Task 1, which is a team research project, wherein you will write an individual piece, research piece yourself, and then bring it together with a team into a synthesis. And that is one of the things, that's 20% of the grade. The second is a performance task that is, and I will send this email out to you guys so you can have this in your email.
And we'll go over all this at the
yeah.
beginning of the course too. You don't need to remember this.
And we'll work through each piece.
Yeah, we're just trying to give you the basic overview.
35% is what's called Pt2, Performance Task 2, and that is when you will write an individual written argument that you will have researched, and you will make a presentation as well. We will also teach you how to do good presentations, how to make all that work. So all of this will be teaching you along the way. This is not like us saying, go write this. We'll be teaching you skills along the way. And then we have the end of course exam, which is more like sort of your classic AP exams. So it takes the weight off of that, only 45% for that one day exam, a little bit, and that helps, I think, a little bit. But we'll send all of this out.
And just to add to what Ms. Butler said, so yes, we will be providing instruction for all of these different tasks, showing how to do them, looking at sample papers and things like that. That said, the way we have the course set up right now, and of course we're continuing to kind of develop it, but the way we envision the course right now, the first semester would be where most of the instruction happens. Second semester, you're going to be working on these tasks to then send off to AP in April, I believe, are the deadlines, right? And there are very hard deadlines that must be met. Most of, or at least a great deal of class time during the second semester is going to be devoted to working on those projects, and then us sort of, conferencing with you, helping you through the process. We are limited in how much guidance we can give you on these. So semester one, we give you the skills, hopefully, that you need to succeed with these tasks. Second semester, you kind of have to swim out on your own a bit, because again, once you start working on those actual papers that are going to be sent off to AP, our hands are a little bit tied in terms of how much guidance we can give you, right? Because they want to be able to assess your skills. So this, if discipline in terms of meeting deadlines, in terms of using time wisely in class and these sorts of things, if this is something that has been a challenge for you, then I would say spend some time over the summer reflecting on how we can improve that, because that's going to be absolutely crucial to being successful in this course.
Yes, the deadlines are
The deadlines are huge, and so, you know.
If you're a person who's perennially turning things late, especially in the last 2 years of COVID, where you're like, oh, I don't know, seems like maybe I
Yeah.
don't have to do this.
That's not gonna work.
That's not, you have to be on time with your work. But on the other hand, those of you who are taking AP World and are thinking, oh my gosh, is this gonna be hours of homework? Don't envision much outside of work, outside of class. Class will be most of the work time. It would just maybe
some reading.
Yeah, there may be some reading outside of class, but nothing to the degree of like an AP World. For the most part, we're gonna focus on doing work in class. You will have a required text for the fall. You will need to purchase the book, The Scout Mindset. You can get it on Amazon. We'll again put that all out in the email. We will be reading that in the fall. You just need to have that in the first week or so of school.
The dark color one, I think, is the hardback cover, I think, right? The one we have is the light colored one. That's the paperback one. That's fine. That's what we use. So.
I put pictures of both just in case.
Yeah.
You were like, oh my gosh, it's the wrong book.
But the lighter one's probably going to be a little bit cheaper, and that's what I'm reading. So.
You can get it used. Doesn't matter. However, just get a copy of it. You will want to get your own copy so you can annotate it. It's actually a very cool book. Now onto the little blue booklet you've got. The little blue booklet. You do have a summer assignment. In some ways, this is like the textbook for our first unit. So it's not just that you're doing it for the summer and it's over. It is what we're going to be using for the first unit. It must be completed in full by the first day of class. As you'll notice, if you take a look at the table of contents, the first 4 things in it outline the assignment itself, gives you a little guide to annotating, how to annotate, some little symbols, but if you have a different way that you like to annotate, have at it. That is totally fine. This is just a suggested way you can do it. You can do it any way you want. Then you have some ways of how to determine the central idea and determining the theme. Those of you who had me will recognize the determining the theme one, okay? That's kind of the way I teach it. But yeah, determining the central idea, giving you some ideas about nonfiction texts. You don't need to write anything on those, but that's just a way to help you to figure it out. Then you have 12 texts. They really are not very long. They're short excerpts for the most part. One's a poem, one is a TED Talk. There's a tiny URL to go watch that video. There are a couple of newspaper articles.
One's a photograph.
One is a photograph, and one is a short story. Your task is going to be to determine the central idea of or theme of each one. There absolutely could be different responses. The responses could vary. We really want you to just start thinking. We are not going to be like, that answer was terrible. You know? It's really about just getting your brain trained to be looking for the central idea, looking for the theme.
And these texts that we picked are all thematically connected to the umbrella theme that we're going to be using throughout the first semester of the course. So, you know, when Ms. Butler said that we're going to be using this as kind of a textbook, if you will, for the first unit, that's absolutely true, that we're going to be coming back to these texts. And if you haven't done the assignments, then you're going to be a little bit of a loss when we start to discuss them and try to find connections between them and so on. So, you know, as she said, there's no particular responses that we're looking for. What we're looking for is deep engagement with the text, thorough reading, critical reading, but there's no particular responses that we're looking for. So don't, as long as you're putting forth, your full effort on it, you're going to be okay.
Yeah. Those of you who are more math brain, like, there's got to be a right answer here. There could be more than one right answer.
Yeah.
There may be some answer that's like completely off base.
Yeah.
But there's more than one right
Many
answer.
right answers doesn't mean there aren't wrong answers.
Yeah, exactly. Many right answers. Then at the end, after you have looked back over your thinking for these central ideas, to try to think what thematic idea, what one word could you use to connect all of these texts? What concept could you use to connect all of these texts? And then the final thing is just a reflection. Not hard. Why did you choose this word? And then cite some examples from the text that help you figure out what these words are. This is kind of, again, getting your brain trained for some of the work that we're going to be doing this year.
There's no particular word, minimum word count we're looking for there, but, use the space that we gave you as a cue, so if you use up the first 2 lines, maybe it's a little underdeveloped, right? But no need to go beyond the space that's provided for you. So just use that as a cue in terms of about how long we're thinking.
Totally agree. I'm looking at some of my long-winded people. Just stick to this.
You don't need to add pages and staple them.
Yeah, please, no more than this. So you can even kind of go and come back to this. You could do an article with a central idea, come back to it a week later and do a different one. That's the other thing. You don't have to sit and do it all at once. You can kind of come back to it. And compared to a lot of AP courses where you're reading 2 or 3 books, this is pretty mild, okay?
Yeah.
All right, we will be collecting it for a grade in the first week, so just be sure that you do it. We will also, in case you lose it, we will put a PDF of it that you're gonna have to print on your own. We'll put a PDF of it on the website where you can print it off, but just don't lose it,
Yeah, don't lose it.
people. Mr. McDermott and I went to a lot of trouble.
A long, arduous trek to
Make
Office
this
Depot.
pretty for you.
I went twice.
Blue cover. It's very stressful.
Yeah, I carry these all the way to my car.
It was a lot, people. It was a lot. We're exhausted. All right. Questions from you guys?
About the course, about
Anything.
what it's going to be like, what are we going to read, the summer reading, whatever you want to know.
Do we do anything with these 2 pages?
Those 2 pages are kind of your instructions on how to get to the central idea. You do not have to write anything on them. Good question. And if you are the kind that's like, I really liked this, I want to use it over and over again, you can actually print it from the website, from the PDF to use it over and over again. But it's just a way to guide your thinking, in other words. It's a roadmap for your thinking.
The assignments in second semester where it's like you have to turn them into the AP thing, is that connected to the exam or is that separate?
That is separate from the exam. So you will have, task 1 is something that you will work on with a group. You will have an individual portion of it, and then you will have a team portion of it. Then task 2 is all individual. You'll have an individual research report, and then you will have a speech that you will give, presentation, not a speech. And then there is sort of a more typical AP test, but it's not one of the longest ones, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think it's not one of the longest.
But your score is based on those 3 things.
The 3 together combined.
3 together, yeah.
Okay, I saw a hand over here, and then we'll come back over here.
What were those multiple choice questions like on the exam? Like what were they asking?
I don't remember if there are multiple choice questions, are there?
I don't think so. No, I think it's entire essay.
Yeah. There might be. I can't remember, to be honest with you. But if they are, you will be given something akin to this, where you have multiple different readings, photographs, paintings, or whatever, and you again come up with
Yeah,
a
no, I
common
don't.
theme.
No, I don't. Yeah, I think it's just the text, and then you write.
This in some ways is a little practice run.
Yeah.
Like you come up with a common theme, common thematic idea. Oh, and I'm sorry, I had her next, and then
The EOC and the AP exam are the same thing.
the EOC and the AP.
Like
End of
on
course.
the-
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
The end of course.
Which
yeah.
is annoying that they call it the same thing, but yeah, that's the AP exam, it doesn't have anything to do
It
with
has
the
nothing to do with the
EOC.
milestones. It's totally separate. That's just the actual AP exam.
They use the same
Maybe we.
verbiage.
Maybe,
I may have to change that.
yeah, we need to use something else. Then I'm confused.
Okay,
How long is the exam?
that I just can't remember, but I don't think it's one of the longer ones.
I think so.
There's 2 parts to it, let me go back to it. There are 2 parts to it, EOC-A and EOC-B. One is more like writing an argumentative essay, and the other is more like what you've been doing forever since you were in 3rd grade. And then the other is you'll have a bunch of different little pieces, and we'll practice all of it, and you figure out kind of what they have in common and write be well prepared to do this by the time you get to that point. Alright, other questions?
Is there like a AP exam for this one, like in past years that we can look at?
We will do practice ones, we will look at practice ones, we will definitely practice this one. It's fine. I'm not worried about any of it for you guys, but in some ways, I'm the least worried about the exam itself.
Yeah, to be honest, what we focused so much on so far is task 1 and task 2, because the exam is actually kind of like task 2, except you do it under time
In
conditions.
timed form. So it's almost like that task 2 thing, the research project, you're gonna be doing sort of like that in a smaller condensed form for the test. So again, it's almost like everything leads to the test, and then boom, the test is just part of the grade. The test is just part of it. Anyone feeling apprehensive about this? Like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be too much for me. I'm gonna tell you, I do not think it is gonna be too much.
And just for those, some people here have taken AP Lang, right?
No, I don't think
No.
anybody has, cause if
What
they're,
about 10th grade
has anybody?
Anyone take-
You have? Okay.
Okay, so if you take AP Lang, like task 2 is very similar to the synthesis essay. Kind of the same type of task, right? You're given shorter texts, and then you have to find connections between them and turn it into an argument.
Yeah, so this is also fabulous prep for AP Lang. So if you go on then after this and do AP Lang will seem like will seem quite easy.
I have a question about the credit. So like, if we're taking template, then we get, like, if we're taking them with template, then we get an English credit. So what about like when you take AP research? Would that?
AP research is not, at this point, is not tied to a credit, it would be an elective. But we are working at trying to figure out how to make it into a credit.
So we would have to take like another English credit to get all four of our.
Yeah, the AP research would not count as an English credit, you'd have to take some other English credit. Yes?
So seminar alone as the elective doesn't count as an English credit?
Seminar alone as an elective does not count as an English credit. It is not an English credit. Yes. But again, it really is a good thing.
But the research, as Bo said, this is all new. We're next year, obviously, is our first time doing this, and there may be a chance that the research course be given as a credit for
It could be like
a class.
science
Could be science or history or whatever. Again, that's not official yet. These are just things that we're exploring. But even though you're not getting English credit, it's still necessary to get the capstone, diploma, which again is super. So,
A good way to distinguish yourself. Because a lot of the schools around here are not offering this. Johns Creek does not offer this. So again, distinguishing yourself is a way to figure out what you want to get to college. All right, any other questions?
we have time for maybe one more.
I was saying, without bells, I'm gonna